my lovely students. Welcome back to Learn History with us. I am Shimelis. Today's topic is about sources of history. Historians use the two very important historical sources. Those are primary and secondary sources. Primary sources have direct relation to the event they describe, because they come directly from the period under study, means they are contemporary to the event they describe. They are nearer in time and place to the event under investigation. So, primary sources are more reliable than secondary sources. The most important examples of primary sources are monuments, documents of contract and agreements, inscriptions, coins, photographs and films and eyewitness information, letters, diaries, memos, and chronicles. These are non-primary sources. The second type of source is the secondary sources. Secondary sources do not have direct relations with the event they describe. They are reconstructions of primary sources. So, most history books are examples of primary sources. Other examples, it could be articles and novels, could be best examples of secondary sources. Secondary sources, they did not have direct relations with the event they describe. Because of this, they are not reliable, but still they are very important in using as a sources of history. The third, another important types of historical source, it could be oral tradition or oral sources. Oral tradition is a type of information which transferred from generation to generation through the word of mouth, mostly implemented in African history. So, whatever it is, oral sources, it might be primary or secondary sources. For example, if we say primary source, is oral tradition is a primary source. A good example, if a certain soldier who involved in the Second World War, and he may tell us or narrate the different battlefields, it could be primary sources. But someone recounted information as such soldiers, it could be secondary sources. So oral sources, sometimes primary source, and sometimes it could be secondary sources. Generally, either primary, secondary, or oral sources, historians, before implementing them, must check the originality of primary sources, whereas secondary source, it could be they recheck or evaluate their reliability. Oral sources, it must be checked by other sources in order to avoid distortions. Why? Because oral traditions, it might be transferred from a long distant history. It may be distorted, so it must be rechecked by other written sources. These are the very important topics. So, my lovely students, don't forget to subscribe this channel and to get more recent history lesson. Now it's better to look. Another topic is periodization in history. From the term periodization, it's directly related to time. Why? Because history, it must be studied within the time framework. So history commonly studied on the basis of periodization. Periodization in history means the division of entire human past into chronologically arranged shorter period. Chronology, a new term, means sequence of events and time, means the arrangement of time and historical events. Historians divided the entire history of mankind into different periods based on different aspects. For example, based on human behavior. Based on human behavior, historians categorized the period into three: savagery, barbarous, and civilization. The period savagery is from 2.5 million to 8,000 BP. Savagery, it was a kind of human being. It was totally uncivilized humans existed during this period. The second category of this period is barbarous. It's more slightly different from savagery, from 8,000 to 5,000 BP. The third one was civilization from 5,000 BP to the present. So these are the category based on human behavior. The third aspect is human tool-making approach. That means from mankind implemented different materials and weapons from different materials. So Stone Age is from 2.5 million to 5,000 BP. Bronze Age from 5000 to 4000 BP, whereas Iron Age is from 4000 BP to the present. This is depend upon tool making process. The third one was the human economic life. Hunting and gathering is from 8000 BP. Farming and animal husbandry. It is after the beginning of agriculture, means from 8000 BP to 1750 AD. Age of industry from 1750 AD to the present. When you say the age of industry, is after the outbreak of industrial revolution in Great Britain. So the history of humankind is also generally divided into history and prehistory. History is the period after the beginning of the art of writing, whereas prehistory is the period before the beginning of the art of writing. Uh, the African periodization is unique. Why? Because of colonialism. The entire African continent, except Ethiopia, it was colonized by Europeans. So based on colonialism, African periodization, it could be pre-colonial Africa, Africa before colonialism, whereas colonial Africa after African states put under the yoke of colonialism, and post-colonialism after the liberation of African states from colonialism. Because of this, African history is mostly different. European history, it is divided into three periods: ancient, medieval, and modern period. Ancient African history, ancient European history is from 1250 BC, lasted up to 476 AD, whereas a medieval period lasted from 5th century to 1500, when early capitalist relations had started. The modern period also dates from 1500 up to the present. As I have already mentioned, African history is unique. Why? Because of colonialism. Based on this, pre-colonial Africa, colonial Africa, and post-colonial Africa. Periodization in Ethiopian history. Periodization of Ethiopian history is different from Africa. Why? Because Ethiopia is the only African state who averted colonialism. Because of this, Ethiopia has its own periodization. For instance, ancient period of Ethiopia, it begins from state formation 1000 BC to 1270 AD. 1270, when King Yukono Amlak came to power. Medieval period of Ethiopia is from 18 from 1270 to 1850, means 1850 when Kasa Hailu, or later called Emperor Theodorus II, came to power. Modern Ethiopia, since from 1855 to the contemporary period, is called the modern history of Ethiopia. My students, still don't forget to subscribe, like, and share the channel. So with this, I am winding up today's lesson. Bye bye.